Here we are. Look, I'm going to offer my best advice in this live on what saved my life, what turned my life around. And I'm going to offer it to you guys too. I'm going to explain to you how that works. And it's really not as hard as you may think. So looking forward to getting into this one with you guys. Let's make Instagram jealous. All right, cool. So just let me try and work this out for 2 seconds because I'm trying to turn. Oh my God. How funny. I'm nailing it. All right, we're good. So when I do lives, there's 2 reasons why I turn the comments off. Number one, the bigger I seem to grow, whether it be through social media or my brand or whatever, you seem to get a lot of haters. And I don't know whether it's the way I deliver my message, whether people don't like me from my past, or whether they just don't want to see an underdog rise and do well because they're not doing anything with their lives themselves. So I've had my dramas with other influencers who should know better than to publicly try and shame someone else when their own closet is quite dark, let's say, as well as stalkers. People don't want to see you do well, and they try and influence others to not follow you or not be part of your brand because they have an agenda against you. So turn the comments off there because of the fake accounts. And also too, I can get distracted pretty easily. All my school reports growing up was said, Todd was very easily distracted. Looked like he had his mind elsewhere, and I did. So this helps. All right, so let's get into it. TikTokers. The reel that I did today, and it's a super powerful one. Like I guess the key message in all of them are. However, there are so many people struggling in our world, right? And I totally get that because I was one of them. Like I was fucked. I had no idea where to start. I didn't know if I wanted to start even, like the simplest tasks, like getting out of bed, thinking clearly without being fucking crippled or shackled to depression and anxiety and fear and terror and all this shit, not knowing really where to go, what to start with, what to do. Fuck, what job am I going to do? Am I ever going to amount to anything? There were so many things that held me back for so long because I was so afraid to start. So I lived with depression and anxiety for so long, to a point where obviously you don't want to live anymore. Like you don't want your days to be like that over and over again. And when you think that that's all life is, and that's all that life's going to amount to, I understand why people don't want to be around, but there are better days ahead. And as hard as this is to hear, laying in bed, waiting to feel better, it's not the answer. And that hurts because you feel depleted, tired, no energy, and all you want to do is lay in your bed. But you're wasting your life away because you can actually go and live a really good life. But it does take action, and it takes a really, really strong ability to say, you know what, I'm going to fight against depression. I'm going to fight against mental health. But it's ongoing, But once you find your way, and you find, I guess I call it a blueprint, you have a daily system, I guess, in place that that serves you well. And I know there'll be a lot of people watching this, and I've got some really, really great friendships now inside my movements, because people are living the same now. We're all understanding that, looking after your body and exercising is a big part of it. Your relationship with drugs and alcohol is huge. It really is. Knowing what that looks like and being in control of that. Your relationships, okay, toxic relationships, whether that be in friendships, relationships with partners, family even. There's a lot of toxicity around family. So understanding what serves you well, what doesn't serve you well, and making those decisions, being strong enough to make those decisions, that's a big part of it as well. Your diet is huge. I mean, you keep filling yourself up with shit, you are going to get a shit result. So the day I turned my life around with my diet, obviously I started to look better, but I felt a lot better too. Sleeping optimization, I mean, fuck, that's the Swiss Army knife. And when you're an addict like I was, and I'll tell you about that, inside that reel, you'll see that I was awake for days, but then I would take sleepers and downers to sleep for days. And that's so dangerous for your fucking heart and your health. But that's how I lived. Once I decided to make change, I got those components right. I've now got it inside a course, which is launching next week. It's called the Shield Operating System. And what that is that's basically how I did this. How I decided to get out of bed and show up for one more day. So obviously I've done a lot since then. I've written a book, podcasts, speaking engagements around our country. There's so much, that I've managed to achieve, charity stuff. Online course that we've got now. It's massive how I've been able to do this. But I just started with one day. And that's the key message. That really is the key message in anything, is you just got to start. It doesn't have to be amazing. Like, waiting for the right time to start when starting is the right time to start. Does that make sense? It doesn't matter what you do. It could just be you're getting up earlier than normal. It could just be that you're going to go and watch a sunrise. Go and have a coffee at a coffee shop with a friend. Make a phone call for the day. Read a book for the day. Go and exercise. Go and jump in the ocean. There's so many things that you can just start with. But once you start, you're going to notice a feeling of attachment to that. And you're going to go, that felt good. I might do that again. And just show up. Because honestly, the course and the system, the one that I've got, will just guide you the rest of the way. All you got to do is show up. Believe me, I know that sounds too easy to be true, but you get the course and you just show up. That's it. So let's dive right into what I wanted to talk about, which is the reel I did, which is understanding where to start. All right, so when you're fucked, and believe me, I've been right there. You got to understand that I am you guys. Okay, I just found a way to bypass mental health. I had it, I lived with it, it was a big part of my life. It was in my DNA for so long. But I needed to hit pure rock bottom. And when I say pure rock bottom, at 40 years of age, I had lost every asset, was taken from me. I was an addict, I'd blown a marriage, I loved my family dynamic. I didn't realize that till I lost it. But being a non-present father now every single day in that family dynamic is my biggest loss by far. Not so much the ex-partner that I was with, but being with your children every single day, even just knowing that they're asleep in their bedroom, having dinner with them, taking them to and from school or to work or to football training, whatever it is, that routine and that consistency is such a privilege. And I lost, that was the biggest loss. Living in the industrial shed, obviously that hurt, but I needed to go there. Going through addiction, going into rehab, going into the mirror to face myself was the hardest thing I ever felt. Even standing on the cliff's edge when I was going to take my life. When I went there to the cliff at Redhead in Newcastle, which I can go to now, and I can do these lives and I can sit there and watch the sunset and I can watch the sunrise, and people want to go there with me because they've been watching and following me. I'm happy to meet them and I take them and we just sit and talk, and it is so powerful to stand there now. And I used to want to jump over the edge straight down, and now I look across that whole plain across the ocean there, where you can't see any further. And I just think, fuck me, Dad, I can impact this whole world now on how I did this. If people just show up and follow this system. So knowing where to start when you are fucked. All right, so let me put this into perspective. Everything in your life, when things aren't going well, compounds and snowballs, and you start to think to yourself, I can't do this. Like, I'm overweight, my diet shit, I fucking hate my missus, I hate my husband, I'm single, I can't meet anyone good, I'm sick of being used, I'm a shit kicker at work, I hate going to work, I hate my job, I can't save any money, I'm in the fucking red every week, I can't get on top of my bills, I can't have kids, or my kids are fucking doing my head in, or, you know, I haven't had a holiday for so long. And I mean, it is so fucking broad, right? It is so broad. So where do you start? Where do you start? I'm going to take 2 seconds, right? And just have a think about to yourself, where would you start if you have to start right this second? So, I was warned so many times inside a marriage to get my shit together. Okay, and I was living in Todd's world, so for me, I never really had consequences for any of my behaviour. I just thought I was killing it all the time. I thought I was a mad cunt, sick cunt. Everyone loved me, but they didn't. That's the thing. I was living in this fantasy world that I was always going to do something. I was always going to be someone, but I never fucking did. That's the thing. I always had these mad ideas, and I got these like bipolar rushes of excitement, which I've now learned is dopamine, and I had it at an extreme level. But my crashes were super low too, so that's a different story. But you go, fuck yeah, I'm going to start this business, or fuck yeah, I'm just going to go away for a week and hire a fucking penthouse, and like you just have all these fucking crazy ideas. I'm going to buy earthwork machinery and just going to lease it out, and I'm going to make all this cash, and I just never did anything. And the reason why I didn't do anything is because I was stuck in addiction. Okay, I never thought I was an addict for so long. Like, I wasted the later part of my 20s, I wasted all my 30s. Like, it's a fucking blur. And I never thought I was an addict. But I now know that I was. And I've done the work in the rehabilitation clinics, I've gone to the meetings, and I've done the work internally on myself. So I can talk about this super openly now, because you guys see the way I live. You see what I've been able to achieve. You haven't even seen half of it. I haven't even warmed up yet. That's the beauty about all this. My life sentence is the way I live now. What a life sentence to have. Because the life sentence I had before, I was fucking crippled. I was shackled like this to depression and anxiety. And I had no idea. And so what I'm saying is, if I could do it, and I started at 42, so I'm standing here at 44 now, in 2 years, it's phenomenal where I sit right now internally with myself. Nothing else matters. It's just about how I feel and how I live every day, but how I continue to improve everybody else in this country. And it is extending across the world as well, which is phenomenal to think that I haven't even warmed up yet. And you guys are all part of that. You're watching the journey with me, and I know I'm impacting your lives as well, because we can all do it. Like, I'm not an exception. I just made a choice. So for me, once I lost everything, once I got my bags packed and I was fucking sent down that driveway, I had no one to call because I'd pushed every friend away. I was the clown at the circus, and the circus was fucking gone. There was no one. My mother didn't even want me back. Yeah. Because I was a shitty son. You know, I'd been a shitty son for so long, and I didn't think I was. You know, I just didn't think I was. Assets are gone. You've got no job. You've got no money. You've got no friends left. You've got nowhere to go. When I went to this industrial shed, which my mate was happy to give for me for a couple of months, that was beyond rock bottom at 40 years of age. Suicide, depression, those thoughts were inside me since I was 15 years of age. I'd lived with that 15 years of age. Now it had become more likely because I had no reason and no signs of any success that I was any good to anyone. So that shed was very, very close to that cliff. And I would walk there, no intentions, just see what it felt like to possibly think, what would it be like? What would other people think if I wasn't around? I mean, no one would miss me. I wouldn't have to face up to me anymore. I remember it so clearly because it's, what do you say to it? It's just such an emotion that you just wish you could get hold of people that are feeling it and just say, hey, listen, I know how this is fogging your mind. You can't think of anything else except to be pain-free, but just let me give you one more day of hope. And I just know that I can get them to step away from that cliff's edge as well and just show up, because there is so much more than what this depression does to you. There's so much more. So for me in that shed, it probably took me the best part of, I reckon, 3 weeks of total pain, blame, shame, embarrassment, humiliation. But that was it. Like, there was no more excuses left. No one believed my lies and excuses anymore. I had no I had a mirror, and it's not the mirror that you probably go, oh, you love looking at yourself, fucking whatever. It's not that. It was the confronting mirror that I had to look at myself and go, fuck, what are you going to do? What are you going to do? There's nothing left. There's no one left. How are you going to fucking do this? How are you going to pull this off, mate? When your whole life has been lies and excuses. And I say it to all the guys on Insta. If there was a book of lies and excuses, I was the author. I wrote the cunt. But just through showing up for one more day, I could go into this so much, and I just won't, because it's for another time. Actually, if you get onto my YouTube, the Toddcast, have a look at that on YouTube. This is where I'm going to start putting a lot longer form of content out and really go back into history, where things started for me, what it was like. But I'm going to give you guys outcomes on how I did it and how I got through it. And it's very easy for me to do this stuff because I lived it, and it's right there with me. All I have to do is remember what it was like and then deliver it to you guys. But you guys have all experienced similar stuff. We all live in the same world. And like I say, it's one in, all in. Inside my movement, it's one in, all in. Once you're in there and we support each other, that's it. We're there for life. Unless you want to unfollow me, of course, or you're a fake account. I got to that shed. I spent those 3 weeks of blaming, but I started journaling, writing stuff down. I was bored. I did push-ups. I did squats. I couldn't use drugs because I was clean. I couldn't afford it, sorry. Did a lot of fasting, so I couldn't really afford a lot of food. The rehabilitation clinic, I was really fortunate to get into that because I'd played enough lower grades in the NRL to be funded by the Men of League, which is a foundation. I never played first grade NRL, but I played enough reserve grade and lower grades to qualify. So I went through the 21-day rehabilitation clinic, and I didn't realise, but I was learning so many valuable tools at those workshops, being around guys that were addicts. See, I still didn't think I was an addict. Being around addicts from heroin and ice and literally suicidal, screaming out every night, trying to kill themselves and that, and I'm like, fuck, I don't belong here. I don't belong here. There's something more for me. This is so scary. How did I end up here? That mirror every single day. I get up out of that bed, go to my workshops and that. That mirror was so confronting, but it was the best thing that ever happened to me, because I was there by myself for the first time. I was alone. No one there to help me. No one there to dig me out of the hole that I dug. And these things at the time are the most painful things, but they're the best things, all right? So I'm sleeping properly for the first time in ages. I'm doing my exercises in the morning. I started meeting a few guys inside there that had come from a bit of a life, when I say a life gang sort of world, and they'd been into rehab a few times, and I obviously gravitated towards those guys. But we were supporting each other, and they genuinely were trying their best to get clean. And you know, the food they were providing, you got provided food and that because of what you paid, and that was good, clean eating. Talking openly inside a workshop environment, getting it out off your chest, and having people listen and relating to what you're saying. That's connection. There were so many things. Bronte in Sydney, where I was, you know, beaches down there, all these beautiful people around, all doing something with their life, and it's motivating, right? There's a really good feeling about being down there. So at the time you don't realize it, but it's when you walk away and you start to look at rebuilding yourself that you can draw on that stuff. So for me, where I got started, once I realized addiction, drug addiction, was my number one priority. And I'll tell you why. Because addiction stopped me going to the gym. All right, it affected my body because I was too fucking cooked. I was too lit. I was fat skinny. All right, you'll see that in the reel. I have a bit of a chuckle about that because it's true. You know, I had the pot belly, real saggy little tits, sloppy arms. Like I had a bit of a throat going on, but I was so thin. You know, like I'm a 95, 98 kilo sort of guy now. I would have been 77, but fatter than I've ever been. Like it was horrendous. The photos were horrific. I don't know how Amanda stayed with me. She must have been so embarrassed to cut me out. I thought I was killing it. I thought I was a fucking rock star. But yeah, so and obviously I couldn't train, so I couldn't put time into my body. I couldn't eat properly because you weren't eating for days because you're on it. And then when you could eat, all you wanted was fucking Hungry Jacks or Macca's or KFC or pizza or pasta or just, you could eat for Australia, pies, whatever. So my diet was up to shit and fueling my body with rubbish. There was no such thing as sleep optimization, all right, because I was so fucking high. I'm smacking these downers to come down, and that's so dangerous for your fucking heart. You know, there's people that have died from heart attacks from being too high, and they smack themselves with the fucking Xanax or whatever, Tramadols, and they're gone. They have a heart attack. So I was doing that. I had no job. All right, I had no job as such because, you know, I was in the game, but I had no career because I couldn't show up to work. I was too out of it. Financially, I blew so much money on rack, like so much. I lost everything from that little white bag. That's what I lost. I lost everything. And relationships, my marriage, friendship groups, you know, family, all that stuff contributed to addiction, right? So my message to you guys, yeah, everything seems really, really hard and everything seems like it's going fucked. But if you go to the mirror and you can do it by yourself, if you need support, grab someone, whatever, but face yourself and you're going to know the answer as to the one major thing that is fucking everything. All right. So if you are one of these people that has a problem with alcohol and drugs, I promise you that one thing alone will be the catalyst for you making excuses for everything else. The way that your body looks, the way that you treat people, the way that you show up at work, the money that you're wasting inside the pub or wherever you are, you know, the gambling, the fucking drugs, the bags, all that shit. The way you treat your kids because you're up and down, you know, you're lazy, you're weak. Your mental health will suffer from drugs and alcohol, I promise you that. So that would be your one thing. If it's your body, right? If you've got issues with the way you look, no matter what age you are, if that's the major thing, your self-worth is pulling you back from everything, that's your one thing. All right, so fix that. Just fucking draw your arrow at that and go for that. I'm telling you guys, it is not as hard to get started as you think. It is one fucking square at a time. That's it. You know, when I talk to friends of mine or people I'm coaching, and they're so fucking crippled every day with so much they've got to get done. I'm like, brother, listen here. There's a lot of stuff there that doesn't have to be done today. You know, what is the one thing we're working on here at the moment? A lot of it's addiction. A lot of it's marriage, relationships, A lot of it's their body. Like a lot of people are struggling with the way they look and the way they feel. But that's it. That's your square every day. What can I do each day to progress along that square? Because every day that you every day you apply your discipline to that square is one day closer to your victory. Every day that you don't do it is one day wasted and another day wasted. All right, so just draw your arrow at that. Stay consistent, apply discipline with that, whatever it is, that one thing that you're going to write down when you face the mirror, okay? That's your private thing. Apply the discipline to that over a period of time, and that discipline to that will then roll into discipline into other areas of your life. Now, if it's addiction, all of a sudden your hip pocket is going to be better off for it because you're not fucking buying fucking grams or balls or ockers or whatever. With alcohol, you're not buying cartons of piss or bottles of wine. You are sleeping better because you're not sedated. You are motivated to get out of bed and go to work because you're not fucking hungover. Kids sport, hanging out with the family. You're more likely to show up and be present because you're not fucking run down, hungover, depressed, whatever. Your body, you're not going to be carrying as much fucking rubbish inside your system. You'll be able to exercise. All that stuff, all applied from that. You know what I mean? So if it's your career, for example, if that's the one thing that's weighing you down, come on, babe, I'm fucked from work. And that's ruining your life. It's ruining your relationship. You can't get up early because you start too early. You can't go to the gym. You work back too late even though you're not being paid for it. That's the one thing. Me personally, I would fuck that cunt off. I'm telling you, if my career was holding me back, knowing what I know now and what I'm capable of, I just wouldn't do it. I'm not saying fucking throw it in tomorrow. It's not what I'm saying at all. Otherwise, you're going to find yourself in a bit of shit. Don't do it straight away, but make a plan. This is my plan. Okay, so when I'm training and I've put on a bit of body fat, whatever, I'm going to draw up a 21-day plan for myself. I do it all the time. I draw up 21 days of my content. I do 21 days. Everything I do is around 21 days. My Shield operating system is 21 days. I learnt that in rehab, that 21 days creates the new habit. All right, so 21 days is ideal. If you think about 3 weeks out of your whole life, 21 days to make change and give you a blueprint on a path forward, that is not long. So that's my tip for you guys. Find the one thing in the mirror this afternoon or whenever you watch this, write it down. Don't worry about everything else because believe me, discipline to that one thing, once you get on top of that, opens everything else up. That's it. Or don't. Or don't do it. And then nothing else changes. In fact, everything gets worse and goes backwards. That I can promise you. If you do not bounce onto the one thing and attack it, the consequences are fucking catastrophic for the rest of your life. And I don't want you guys to go where I had to go to, male or female, okay? I don't want that to happen to you guys. This is all preventative messages. This movement that I run, these are all preventative messages. The frameworks, the courses, the talks I do, the podcasts, the people I engage with at the coffee shops, whatever, interviews, these are all preventative messages from someone that went there, that had no choice to go there, but I had a choice to live or die. I could have taken my life, but I didn't. I survived one more day. And that was my choice. I chose that. What you're seeing now 2 years later is a full rebuild of a human being, of a man that went from someone who turned into someone else against every fucking odd that was possible. It was almost against humane what I've done. However, I found my one thing, and it was addiction. It was drug addiction. And I still continue to beat that today. The thing is, what was I going to say? So the thing is, what I've managed to do in 2 years, by beating addiction, has opened up my whole world in every fucking aspect. But you're never fucking healed. Remember that. All right? You are on the right path every day. So I've got my daily system, okay? You guys are going to create your system inside my 21-day framework. In that operating system, bang, you're going to create your own system. My system and my routines, very few people know what they are. Some people have spent enough time around me of a morning and of a day to understand how I operate, but it's hectic. I don't expect you to do that. I didn't do that from day one, believe me. I can do that now 2 years later because I've now got evidence of what I'm doing is working and I have some success behind me. For 40 years, I didn't have any success. I was a fucking loser. But now, I love who I am. People like who I am. I've got different relationships, different friendships. I have the ability now to impact people's lives and change their lives and fucking save their lives. You know how rewarding that is? So why would I want to change that? Why would I want to stop and go back there when I have this to look forward to? My path is so fucking clear because I've been doing the path for so long now. It's my routine, and all I have to do is show up and follow my system. And that's all you have to do. Start with one fucking thing. That is the best advice I can give you at this point in time. One thing. Draw your arrow at it. Fix that. All right, go for that. I hope that makes sense, guys. I actually really enjoyed this TikTok. I don't know what all these love hearts, I don't know what this League Diamond, I don't understand what this is. I will learn over time. That's another thing. When you get forced out on your own to be a big boy, you have to learn how to learn again. I never fucking paid a bill. I never sent a fucking email. I'd never even opened a fucking Word document, done dishes, put my own clothes away. Like, I never had to do any of that stuff. And I'm pretty good at it now. So learning how to learn is another good skill, but yeah, I can get off topic really quickly because I'm so passionate about change. I just know how many lives I've impacted to this point. Like I said, I haven't even fucking warmed up yet. And we all have the ability to do it. Because if we all improved 1% in our own lives, can you imagine what the world would improve in as a collective? That's the ability. When I say I can change the world, you guys will all do it together. And I'll talk more about that as we go along this journey because I've got some really cool stuff happening. I usually leave my guys on Instagram with this, and I'm going to do the same with you guys. It's never over when you lose, all right? So when you draw your arrow at that one thing, there's going to be hurdles. I relapsed with my addiction, 4 months into it. Best thing I ever did. Terrified the fuck out of me. But again, different story. I lost, okay? I fucking lost. I failed. Got straight back up, got straight back into my routine, harder than ever. So angry at myself for it. You are going to fail along the path of whatever it is that you want to achieve. But the losses teach you how to win. All right, hear that really clearly. Your losses will teach you how to win. If you lose and you quit, that's when it's over. That's when this is over. When you quit, that's it. You're done. Okay, whatever that was, you quit, finished. But the losses, you're not done. You bounce back. Right, so I hope that makes sense. When you decide to quit, that is when it's over. If you don't quit, you're going to fucking find out and you'll be much better for it. Fuck, how do I get out of this now? I don't even know how to end this.